Okay, we're rolling.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm Dave. I live in Ontario, Canada, and I'm happy to be here with you on the show. I want to talk about a word that I didn't really grasp or use in my day-to-day speech. Not a word that I generally would think of using. And when I heard it, I'm like, whatever. But now I'm starting to think about it a little bit more, and maybe it has more meaning than I really anticipated at the time. And it's the term parasocial. Not Paris Hilton, parasocial. Now, parasocial, to me, it didn't really click until I put it into a different context. Now, remember, a few months ago, the podcasting world lost a big giant in the space. Mr. Todd Cochrane, owner of Blueberry, which is a podcast hosting site, a champion of independent podcasters from around the world, a kind, opinionated podcaster who would fight for us as independent podcasters. A great guy. And it's interesting because he passed away and suddenly, and just like he was just gone. And I had these feelings because I've never met him ever. I've never had an email with him. He did read one of my comments on a podcasting live episode, but he attributed to somebody else, even though he read my comment. I'm like, oh, I was so close. But a guy that I've been listening to and following for a very, very long time. And even though he has no idea who I am, he probably wouldn't even have known my name or even known about me or my show. I doubt it. So there's kind of a one-way relationship between me as a listener and Todd Cochrane as the host of the podcast. He did the New Media Show. He did Geek News Central. He did a bunch of stuff in podcasting. A speaker at all the events. He ran a booth at all the events. And yeah. So anyway, there's this interesting dynamic between a listener and a podcaster. So I'm from a listener's perspective with Todd. I had a parasocial relationship with Todd. Todd knows nothing about me, and I know a ton about Todd because I've been listening and I've been a part of his community and supporting, sharing his show, all of that stuff. So I feel a connection with Todd, even though Todd has no sweet clue who I was. I had no impact on Todd. Maybe I showed up as a download on his dashboard, but that's about it. He had no idea who I was. But to me, I knew Todd, even though I've never met him. And there's this relationship that we build over time with our audience that I don't think that you nor I really understand. I don't think, to quote Todd, we have nary the clue, or nary, he liked to say nary all the time, nary the idea that this relationship exists. And I just wanted to talk about the parasocial relationships that we build over time as podcasters with our audience. You showing up and doing what you do, and you do it very well, by the way, you showing up and doing what you do on a regular basis builds a relationship with people that you may never, ever, ever met. You'll never meet them. You'll never cross paths with them in the real world. But to them, you are their person. You are the voice. You are the person that they resonate with. You are the person they anticipate, they look forward to. And you are the person that they build their world around. They change their schedule for you. And you become a companion in life, even though, as a podcaster, you may never meet them. This is a parasocial relationship. It's a one-sided sense of friendship or closeness that listeners feel toward a host or a public figure that they admire, even when there's no reciprocal interaction occurring at all. So the goal of this episode is for us as podcasters just to recognize when listeners experience parasocial bonds, that we need to reflect on this responsibility that we have as podcasters. It's really important, and that we honor and protect the relationship we have with our audience by how we show up, how we are in real life, that we are the same all the way through. We have integrity because our audience is building a persona around us and a belief about who we are, and we don't want to give them any reason to think otherwise. What parasocial relationships feel like for listeners? Listeners over time will feel understood when they listen to you as a podcaster. They feel invited into a personal space with us through our podcast. It's like being in someone's home, in someone's living room. It's like pretty intimate when you think about it. There's an expectation that the conversation is going to keep going. And when we lost Todd, my parasocial relationship with Todd ended. It was broken because he was gone. We need to realize that people are incorporating us as hosts into their daily routine. And there's a power dynamic here too, where admiration creates trust and loyalty. So when you tell people as a podcaster to buy a product, or you endorse this service or that person or that website, or you should buy this microphone, or I don't know, whatever you endorse, that book, people will act. They will act on what you say. They will act on what you said 100 episodes ago. You've forgotten what you've said, and people will tell you you said these things. They're like, I loved on episode 3 when you said this, and you're on episode 300. I don't even remember what I said on episode 3, but they do. They have a parasocial relationship with you. That's an interesting dynamic that's happening here. There's this trust, though, can be misread as intimacy. And it can lead to some inflated expectations on both sides. Expectations that they have about you and your character, who you are as a person, and they see you through the lens of your podcast. And then you might have expectations of them as a listener. It signals that you're in a parasocial space when fans share personal details. They persistently seek interaction with you on multiple platforms, or treat you as the host as a confidant. They can tell you things. That's a sign. When a complete stranger to you reaches out to you and starts telling you what your podcast means to them and how it's changed their life, they're being very vulnerable with you right in that moment. And don't you ever step on that. Don't you ever dismiss that. Or don't you ever not respond. Because they're showing how vulnerable they are in the moment to you as the host. So why hosts should be aware and intentional when dealing with a parasocial relationship with your audience. We have this influence over people and with people because we're a podcaster. And in that influence, there's some ethical things to think about. This parasocial bond that we have can create leverage. You'll see people misuse this. You'll see people who use power over people to get them to do things. It happens. And this requires careful boundaries to avoid manipulating people exploiting people or pressuring your listeners to do things they wouldn't otherwise choose to do. You have a lot of power with that microphone sitting there in front of you. You can make people do things by the power of your voice. Be careful. Use your podcast ethically. And you have a responsibility to protect and not exploit your audience. Prioritize your listener and their welfare and their autonomy over who they are. And don't leverage your power as a podcaster towards making money with your show and doing things that hurt your audience. Now, I'm okay with you making money with your show. That's fine. That's not the big deal. It's when you use it to manipulate people to make money with your show. That's a problem. We have a responsibility to protect, not exploit. We prioritize our listeners' welfare, consent, and autonomy. And we have an impact on trust. We need to be transparent with our boundaries and respectful during our engagement to preserve the trust that people give us by listening to our show. Some practical guidelines for us around nurturing a healthy parasocial relationship. We need to be careful with these things. We need to be careful and have clarity around our boundaries as podcasters with our parasocial relationships with people we haven't met. Okay, so we need to set some boundaries around listener-host interactions, how personal you want to be when you share, what counts as private. So talking about your family, talking about your marriage, talking about your children, your job, right? You got to be careful. And how listeners can engage with you in a respectful manner. Giving out your phone number for people to text you. I've heard people do this on their show. You need to kind of drive this part of the parasocial relationship with the people you haven't met who hear your show. So your availability, what you give away, your location, your identity, all of that stuff. Once you put it out there, the internet writes in ink. So just remember that, okay? And any listener-first communication. Be sure that when people reach out to you and leave you comments, that you get consent to use their information, their voice, in your show, in your content. That they opt in for opportunities for interaction, Q&A, voice messages, communities, and there's an opt-out option as well. So if they ask you not to use the video, for example, as a guest, or they don't, as a listener, they don't want to be seen or included in your show, but they're giving you feedback, be careful with that. Remember, with this parasocial relationship, people will act on your words and your actions, so be transparent about your sponsorships. If you're being paid to have a guest on your show and you're promoting this person or this company as a paid sponsorship, it's basically an ad. There's legal ramifications for you in the US and around the world. So be transparent about any sponsorship, paid placements. Avoid framing promotions as personal endorsements or implying that an endorsement will help the listener and be in their best interest, or they should act, or they should, just remember, there's a relationship here. They trust you. So don't sacrifice their trust. Be inclusive, have a supportive community. When you build a community, you're going to have to moderate the community. I'm doing that on Meetup right now. Protect vulnerable people within your group. Keep them from being harassed or bullied by other people in the group. That's your responsibility. You're the mayor of your own town when you build a community. Have some boundaries as far as your relationship with your guests as well. When you're featuring your guests, ensure that discussions remain respectful to the listeners' experiences and avoid putting guests in positions if they feel pressure, that they feel pressure or they could pressure your audience to do something that is not helpful. It could harm your listeners. And have a self-check for hosts. Schedule regular reflect and review sessions. Assess whether episodes or interactions risk crossing boundaries, and adjust your formats. Just be aware. And then empower your listeners as well. Offer some resources for listeners who might be struggling emotionally, including crisis resources if you start to get into some heavy topics around addiction or mental health. So don't just create the content, gather the answers and the support that people need as well. So keep all that in mind. So some key takeaways for listeners. Some things to consider. These parasocial connections are real. They're raw and they're powerful. But always operate within safe and ethical boundaries in all that you do. If you don't handle this right, it's going to hurt somebody. It could hurt your listener. It could hurt you. So handle this with care and attention. Audience deserves your respect. Audiences deserve privacy. As hosts, we bear the responsibility to protect that trust. When I think back about Todd and my parasocial relationship with Todd looked after his listeners. Todd created a safe place. Todd loved to push buttons, but Todd always made sure everyone was good. A healthy podcast relationship with your audience balances both the warmth that you bring through your microphone and the accessibility with really transparent boundaries about consent and ongoing commitment and the welfare of your listener. I want just to reaffirm the commitment to honoring your listeners as a community. It's not a commodity. Your advertisers who want to get on your show, they see your community as a commodity, someone to sell to. They're not here to nurture your community. They're here to sell to your community. Just keep that in mind. You are the last line of defense between everything else and the people who love you the most with a parasocial relationship with you. Treat your relationship with your listener with the respect it is due. You have this beautiful privilege and honor of being a podcaster with an audience. Your audience may be small. Your audience might be really big. Understand the weight and the power that comes with this platform and never, ever abuse it and never, ever neglect it as well. You have a commitment. You've built something here, or you're in the process of building something right now. And what you build stays. What you build has impact. Be careful with your words. Be truthful. Be transparent. And make sure that when someone builds a relationship with you, a parasocial relationship with you, and you have no idea who they are, that you keep that in mind the next time you come to the mic. There's someone listening to you today that's never met you and may never meet you, and you may never, ever hear from them. And only a small portion of our audience ever reaches out to connect with us as podcasters. Yet they listen, they learn, they feel like they know you. And they've got a lot of great content that you've given them over the years. And in that moment, you don't just have a fan, you have a friend. And you have somebody who's also looking for friendship as well. So when you hear from your audience, respond. When you speak to them, speak in truth. Don't say anything that would hurt your audience. Protect them Protect them from people who might want to harm your audience. And always, always, always continue to focus on building relationships through podcasting. You've got a great audience out there. They love you, and they want more from you. How much more? That's up to you. And if you have a parasocial relationship, somebody that you look up to, that you follow, they don't know who you are. Maybe you've never reached out to them. My first challenge for you is to reach out to them. There's somebody that you admire. I would love for you to take time today to send them a message. However they wish to be communicated with, just reach out. You know what it's like to not see emails. You know what it's like to not get messages. Then be the one to do it. Initiate it. Just keep in mind that this podcasting platform is powerful. And what you have in front of you with that microphone can change the world. I hope you do it. And I hope you do it well. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I like that Dave guy, and I haven't met you yet, we have a parasocial relationship. And I'd love to meet you and have time with you at howtopodcast.ca. Thanks for being here. Take care. Hey, thanks for being here. Thank you for listening to the end of the podcast. You're here with me. I'm so grateful. I want to put something in front of you. For the person that's listened this far, you're my new best friend. So what I'm trying to do every month is I have a goal, and you can help me with this goal. Very simple. What I'm trying to do is have 5 conversations this month with listeners of the How to Podcast series. You don't have to have a podcast to respond. This can be the first time ever that we're going to have a conversation, but I'm looking to talk to 5 people. Now, you're still here, so you're one of the people that I would love to talk to next. So on my howtopodcast.ca website is a calendar. And I'd love to have you respond on howtopodcast.ca. Just click the calendar link, set up time in my calendar, and in the comments section for the meeting, just put something like listener. That's it. If you have a show, put it in the comments too so I can go listen. But if you don't, I just want to talk to 5 listeners every month from now to the end of the month. So if you're listening to me right now, you're the person I want to talk to. And through howtopodcast.ca, you and I can get together, chat about the show, chat about your journey as a podcaster. Where are you at? What do you need the show to become for you? What's missing? Your feedback. I just want to meet you. And as podcasters, I would encourage you to do something similar to this in your podcast so that you can meet and interact with your audience. So, howtopodcast.ca, I'm looking to talk to 5 people every month, and I would love for you to be one of them. Reach out. It's free. I'm not selling you anything. I just want to talk to you at howtopodcast.ca. Let's get in the calendar and chat. Thanks for listening. Hey, it's me. It's Dave. I'm still here. You're still here? Good. Okay. I'm going to throw on these questions and answers at the end of the episode just for you, because you're still here. Everyone else is gone. So I thought I'd just hang out with you a little bit longer. I like you. You're a nice person. The question I had come in recently was around how many episodes do I need to start a podcast? Now, if we want to go by like the technical requirements of starting a podcast, you need 1. Okay, we're done now. We can go home. But I would suggest you have more than 1 for a simple reason. When your podcast is new, you want to be able to give your audience more than 1 episode to listen to before the next episode comes out. So I would say at minimum, I would do a trailer episode, which is let's call it an umbrella for your podcast. It's kind of like the big idea of the show. Who's it for? What's it about? What can people get from this show? As an umbrella, it covers everything, right? But these trailers, they don't have to be long. I would suggest, because often people will tell you that a podcast doesn't register a listen in some apps if it's less than a minute. So if you do a 30-second trailer, technically, you're not going to get any stats for that. So I would say at least a minute, 2 minutes, but not 50 minutes like I've seen some gurus do. I just shake my head. It's not an episode. It's not a about you episode. It's a trailer. It's meant to be something that's easily shared from one person to the next. Hey, check out this podcast. Here's the trailer. I think you'd love it. Done. It's not an episode. It's a trailer. So that's one episode right there. That's technically all you need to start is a trailer. But I would do a trailer and a few episodes as well. Having them banked gives you more time to create the next episode. So I would say 1, 2, 3 episodes in addition to your trailer is a great starting point. What I would not suggest you do is create 52 episodes, which is an entire year of content with one a week. Because what if the podcast isn't great? Like, what if there are things in the podcast that your audience goes, we don't like that? Starting with a small batch of podcast episodes to get going is probably a better idea from my perspective and the people I've worked with than to create an entire year of content in advance. So keep that in mind. Remember, it's your show, so you can do whatever you want. You don't have to do a trailer. You don't have to do multiple episodes to launch. You do have to have one episode to launch. So that's at the bare minimum what it takes to start a podcast. One episode. From there, it's completely up to you. My suggestion, multiple episodes to start, but you pick. And if you need help, let me know. I'd love to help you. I'm always here. And I'm always hanging around after the episode if you have any questions. So let me know. Take care. And happy podcasting.